What's up, my guy? How we doing?
What's going on? Doing good. Good week of baseball this week. Not really so much for the Yanks, though. I got to tell you, we just got swept in
No,
Detroit, so
that's a toughie.
it was not fun to watch. I'll tell you that.
I mean, you guys played baseball though. The Mets played one game this weekend.
Yeah, a lot of fucking rain in New York right now, man.
Bro, that's what I heard. I'm over in,
Yeah.
in Cali, of course. I've heard it's just been like terrible.
Dude, it's been like pretty much nonstop raining since Thursday or Friday night. So it's not been a fun weekend, you know.
That's
I've
no,
gone
that's
I've gone out a
unfortunate.
little bit and like everywhere we go is just downpouring. You can't really walk around any it's like it's supposed to be Memorial Day weekend and it's like a nice
Yeah,
weekend. Also shout out though, Memorial Day weekend. Honor all the troops out there. Hope everyone's thinking about them and how
no, of
much they
course.
really we really appreciate you out there. So thank you for everything.
No, definitely keeping them in our thoughts and prayers, of course.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, tell me your favorite thing you saw this past week.
So this is actually a pretty cool play. I don't know if you saw it because it wasn't actually an MLB. It was in a college game. Um,
Oh,
so it was Dallas Baptist University. I don't even know if that's like a big school for baseball or not, but this player Cole Moore, first baseman over there, made a really awesome diving play over the fence. He was going to his left, so he's playing first, not over like the outfield fence. It's in foul territory.
oh,
This
okay,
dude just fucking sprints and like dives. He just happens to be diving like right over the fence. It's a really small fence. I don't even
okay,
think he knew it was there. I think he was just diving sideways to catch it, and he
yeah,
just happened to go like directly over the fence and made the catch. So it was
dude.
pretty awesome play, dude. I was like, "Are you kidding me? Like that's
Dude, I
crazy."
gotta look that up once we're done
Yeah,
recording. That's sick.
it's really cool. Yeah. So that was my play.
Dude, I'm gonna go
Uh,
with I feel like everyone's probably seen this play at this point, the Javi Baez play. I'll quickly
mhm.
recap if anyone hasn't. So he hits a ground ball. It was to either short or third, and they have a run. The Cubs have a runner at third, and it gets to the first baseman. He's trying to chase. I feel like I'm doing a shitty job describing it. First baseman catches it, and then he starts chasing down Baez like down the first baseline, and Baez just keeps on dancing and like killing time. And then eventually the Cubs runner he buys enough time for the Cubs runner to come home. Let me tell you though, like great play by Baez. Why didn't the Pirates first baseman just step on first?
Dude, I don't know. I saw it too, and I was like, man, like that's a smart play by Baez, but like I don't really know what was happening there. It was very confusing play to like
Yeah,
watch too. But honestly, look, man, Baez just did what he was doing, and the run scored. So
bro, he's a
whatever he
freaking
did
smart
worked.
player. Because like this is not
Yeah.
the first time he's pulled some
Oh
like
no,
really
no,
smart
man.
play.
Because we remember, I don't know if you remember, like back in the WBC days when 2017, like he's making fucking tags without looking. He's like doing all this fucking really cool shit, and like it's shit that he thinks about. Like he was base running. I think he stole home at some point somehow. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
dude, he's just very smart out there. We've seen it in the playoffs too, all the time.
Really, yeah, high IQ player. But
Yeah,
that was
yeah,
that
man.
I saw that and like yeah, that was kind of amazing. So
So you
my
need your
favorite thing I
shortstop to
saw.
be. Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Get into a little bit of a standings update. We're 2 months into the season now, at the time we're recording. What stands out to you? Any surprise teams? Teams in trouble?
Well, you know what? First of all, I just want to bring up that last year we would be done right now. The season would have been over.
True, true.
So put into perspective that we're only a third of the way in now. So very different than last year. Like I feel like I remember like the first couple weeks, a lot of teams were like in panic mode, it seemed like, or fans at least,
Yeah.
because they were on the clock for a 2 month season. And like now it's been 2 months and everyone's like, well, wait a minute, we still have 4 months left. Like we're good. The trade
Bro,
deadline is not even for 2 months. So
we forgot it's like
um
a marathon of a season. Yeah.
exactly. And there are some surprises though. I think that some more first place teams are what we thought they would be than the last time we did this. Like
Right.
San Diego's in first, not the Giants anymore, although they are still close. They're only a half game back. But
Yeah.
the White Sox are in first. The Royals were in first last time.
I was gonna
So
say, I feel
yeah.
like some wacky thing. Like, yeah.
What's kind of funny though is that the AL West didn't change at all since last time. Like the where
True,
the teams
true.
are.
Yeah.
the percentages of games back changed, but it goes Oakland, Houston, Seattle, LA, and Texas. And that's what it was. Not many teams stayed in the same spot as last time. The Yankees are still in third. That's not what I like to see, but whatever. Boston is actually out of first now. Tampa Bay jumped from last to first in our division.
Tampa got hot.
They did. And, a couple teams didn't, like Baltimore and Arizona. I think there was a point this past week where combined they had lost like 25 straight games.
I saw that.
That was kind of crazy. But yeah, Baltimore is 16 and a half games back in our division. Arizona's 15 games back. I mean, what I think is interesting though is your division, man. There are 4 teams in your division below 500.
Dude, I was saying this to my friend the other day. I can't tell if like they all suck or is it just like they're all beating up on each other?
Man, I got to think that they're all beating up on each other just because of the players they have. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know. What do you think? I mean, I don't know. You're a Mets fan. You watch the division more than I do.
Yeah, so. I feel like there's just like, no, I'm just looking at like Washington, like last place, 6 games out of first. I mean, the Mets, I don't know if you've seen some of the lineups they're throwing out there right now. Freaking like Jose Peraza and Billy McKinney are the ones carrying us. And I mean, they're up 3.5 games right now. And you're getting Pete Alonso back. You're getting Seth Lugo back soon. I don't know. It surprised me how, I mean, everyone's within striking distance, but how much Atlanta, Philly, Miami, and Washington are struggling.
Yeah. I mean, like, I know you don't want to hear this, but realistically, the division could be flopped by the end of the season and no one would be surprised. I don't think.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Like, I think the Mets are going to stay around first, but, the Braves were in last time, or no, they were close to last time. And then, the Marlins hopped up. The Nationals kind of got cold. I think they're all good, man. I do.
Yeah.
Because a lot of you guys are fucking injury plagued as shit right now, too. Like, you guys are, the Phillies are, too. They're a lot of injuries.
Right.
So that's interesting, man. I don't know. That's the best division in baseball, I think, but it's just going to be tough because everyone beats up on each other. So
yeah.
What I think is kind of surprising too right now is the Dodgers. I don't know what you think about that.
Third place now. I mean, it's kind of the same thing with them. Just a lot of injuries. I mean, they finally got Cody back this past weekend.
Right. That was big.
Still looking for bullpen pieces. I mean, you lost Dustin May. Corey Seager's out now. So, yeah, I mean, they're still right there. But, I mean, especially just again, losing 3 out of 4 to the Giants.
That was crazy. I mean, the Giants at Dodger Stadium, by the way. So,
yeah.
I think that out of the teams that are, like, below 500, I think the one that has the best chance of turning it around, other than I'm not focusing on the NL East right now with this because again that's a whole different like animal. I feel like that division.
Yeah,
I'm saying I still, dude. After they prove me wrong every time, I still have faith in the Reds. Somehow, their offense is just too good, man. I don't know.
Dude, Castellanos and Winker have been like unbelievable for them.
And they're in 4th place. Like, how is that even possible?
I feel like they did this last year too. Like when you look at like the underlying numbers, they're actually really good, but somehow like it just does not translate to wins.
Somehow they just lose games. Like, and there have been some issues. Like Luis Castillo has not been good. So
no,
but Sonny Gray
didn't really work out.
You got to expect him to turn it around, though. I mean, his track record speaks for itself.
You would think.
But like Sonny Gray has still been good. Another guy, I think Tyler Mahle is his name, Tyler Mahle, whatever. He's kind of stepped up and been the Castillo that we thought Castillo would be. There still have 2 pitchers there that are really good. So, like, it just doesn't make sense. They signed Sean Doolittle to be their closer, and I don't think he's been good, but I don't know. It's just really
you even
weird.
got freaking Wade Miley over here throwing no-hitters and like
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
I will say in that division too, Milwaukee, they're just a couple games over 500. They're like in 3rd. You don't think too much of them. They're 17-9 against over 500 teams.
Right.
So that's the most wins over 500 teams and the best percentage over 500. So I think they're better than they look.
I agree. Because they were in 1st last month when we did this, and I didn't realize they were in 3rd until we were looking at it the other day, and I was like, dude, what?
Yeah.
Like, they've been good. And like St. Louis has been a lot of injuries. Their pitching hasn't been great, and they're in first. I mean, like,
Hmm.
that's weird. Plus, dude, the Cubs have kind of turned it around, but still, I think they're going to trade away some pieces. I really do. I don't
Yeah.
know what you think about that, but
No, I feel like we've said so many times they're just a confusing team.
yeah,
They can even win the division. I feel like they're not going to go anywhere. I feel like they should sell. I
I
think it's
think
going to be
like
our St. Louis or Milwaukee.
I agree. I'm pulling for those Reds though. I agree.
Yeah.
You know what I think is interesting though? That I think, in my opinion, I don't know how you feel, but I think there are three teams that are currently in second place that could easily trade away a ton of pieces if they fall out of it by July. The Giants, the Cubs, and the Red Sox. Because the
Mm,
Red Sox weren't planning on winning. The Cubs were kind of planning on winning, but kind of not. And then the
yeah.
Giants, seemingly like half their team are going to be free agents. So like that's interesting to me. I don't
The
know.
Gi- the Giants are not sustainable to me. I mean, I feel like everything is broken right for them. I
Right.
mean, Gossman might be the real deal. We'll talk about him a little
I
bit.
think he is. Yeah,
Yeah, I think he's legit, but the other starters have gone like above and beyond what they usually do.
they have.
I mean, you
Yeah.
have Posey just like turning
Uh,
back the clock.
Longoria too
Longoria.
is another person we're going to talk about a little bit later. Like he's been amazing this year, and so you know, but still, like they're going to have all this money coming off the books. The smart thing to do is to trade everybody away, get a bunch of young players, and make a splash. But what are you supposed to tell your fan base if you happen to be in first on July 31st?
Right. I mean, you can't go back again. I would say out of
Yeah.
those three teams, for if all of them were to fall off, I think the Giants should be the one to really sell it.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens though, man. It's really interesting because like you never even really want to look at the standings like a month in, maybe even 2 months in. It's like not that important really. But
Oh
I
yeah.
think the biggest thing to take away from the standings is that NL East, and we'll see how it ends up another month from now because it's going to be kind of crazy.
Could look completely different, but
Yeah.
in my case, hopefully not.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Um,
we were talking a little bit about potential trades, who's going to sell off. So, if you were to look at the American League right now, for any team to kind of make an upgrade in the deadline, like who would you say?
well, not to sound really biased or anything here, but the Yankees have a lot of issues in center field right now. Aside from the fact that we just got swept by the Tigers, that's a bet in itself. But it also was announced pretty recently that Aaron Hicks is out for the season. He had, I think, arm surgery. Something happened. He had surgery.
Right.
So now Brett Gardner has become our everyday center fielder. And like, I love Brett, but like, dude, he's 37. Like,
Yeah, you love that, but it's just not going to
I
work.
we need to put him in like positions to succeed against right-handed pitching, maybe like platoon with Clint or something. Like he cannot play center every day, and that's not a knock on him either. But like we
You
need
just
someone
can't. Yeah,
else,
it's
So
fair.
I think this is a potential trade that I think would really work out, especially because we also just mentioned how Arizona dropped the fuck off. Ketel Marte would fit in
Mm,
perfectly as our center fielder. Marte is a switch hitter, so he fits the mold that Hicks fit. Because like in the beginning of the season, Hicks was supposed to be our three hitter in between Stanton and Judge or whoever.
right.
And then he was not playing good when he was playing to begin with, so that kind of just got like squashed out. But Marte has been playing great this season. He was hurt for a little while, but he's been great since he came back. He's hitting 333. He's got a 932 OPS and 17 games played. So again, like I said, he was hurt for a little while. But since 2018, though, he averages a 302 batting average and an 853 OPS over 162. So that's pretty legit. And dude, listen to this contract that he did sign with Arizona back in 2018 after that season. It was 5 years, $24 million.
Wow.
And he also has team options for 2022 and 2023. Plus, he used to play second base. If Hicks comes back next year, makes some changes a little bit, something else, he could play the infield. So, like, I think it makes too much sense to not do, in my opinion.
He's sneaky good. I didn't realize his numbers were that good, actually. Huh.
Yeah, he was an all-star back in 2019, last
Right.
real season we had. You know, he kind of had an off year last year, but again, 60 games everybody did. So
Yeah.
Plus, I just think he gets lost in the shuffle over there in Arizona, especially because of, again, like we said, they're 15 games out. So it would just make a ton of sense. Switch hitter. Like if Hicks wasn't going to be out for the year, I wouldn't be saying this either. But
Yeah.
that's a whole season of Brett Gardner as your center fielder. It just can't work. So,
No.
obviously there may be some options that you would give up less, but they're not as good as him. I think he's really fast. Plus, I think playing at Yankee Stadium would help him because of the short porch in right field with the power. So
I agree. I think he would cost a decent amount to acquire, but you guys are also all in right now. Like this is the season to win a World Series. So
and
I think I think that makes a lot of sense from a payroll standpoint, versatility, bat from the injuries you guys have had. Yeah, I agree.
Plus, again, like this is our window because Judge is a free agent, I think, after next year. So is Sanchez. Sanchez is whatever, but he is technically a free agent after next year. Tyone's a free agent after next year. Chapman even might be too. So we need to win now.
Oh yeah, this is the time. Absolutely.
So I would pull the trigger if I was Brian Cashman here.
I think that makes a lot of sense.
What AL team are you looking at?
I'm gonna stay in that division. I'll stay with Boston. So great offense they have right now. Pitching's like fine. They're about 11th in team ERA right now in the league. But I mean, it's not the most stacked rotation. Chris Sale, you think's coming back, but again, it's uncertainty. Even if he does, who's going to be? So I think they go to Kansas City and they get Danny Duffy, who recently had an injury scare, but they think he'll be all right. This year, 194 ERA, 48 strikeouts over 41 innings. He's on an expiring contract. Definitely not going to keep up that pace. This is not who he's been over his career, but he doesn't have to be, right? He can just be an average starter for Boston, and they would take that. So, and again, too, you're not giving up too much if he's going to be on an expiring deal.
Even go a step further, get Jorge Soler in that deal too. He's a free agent after the year, and he's kind of been bad, but Fenway, Green Monster can help him out, maybe.
Yeah, no, I think if they want to stay ahead if they want to stay by Tampa Bay, I think it makes sense to bolster the rotation.
Duffy has been a Royal his whole career, right? Too, so that would kind of be a little
right.
Weird
Yeah, I feel
like
he has been jersey. There forever.
Yeah, like you said, I don't think he's going to keep it up, but I do think he's going to be serviceable the rest of the season. And Boston's pitching, again, we always talk like they're kind of up and down. Eovaldi has actually been pretty good,
right?
And Erod has not. So Duffy could be the lefty to fill in behind Eovaldi for now, and like Sale may be coming back at some point soon. So that could be really helpful over there.
What you got for National League?
So National League, this I feel like it's kind of going out on a limb here, but I think it could definitely work out. Like a lot of people forget that Joey Gallo used to be an infielder before he was a right fielder. I think that Milwaukee should acquire Joey Gallo and Kyle Gibson from Texas.
That's a bad deal.
Because we already talked about how they've been great against teams above 500.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Joey Gallo can play all three outfield spots. He could also play third and first. This trade, for me, has him playing an infield spot because their corner infielders this year all have an OPS below 705, which is the league average in OPS in 2021 so far. And that's Travis Shaw, Daniel Vogelbach, Luis Urias, and Keston Hiura, who has been really bad. He's supposed to be a big part of that lineup this year, and he got sent down for a while. Now he's back, but I don't think he has a hit since he's been back. Honestly, I was looking it up. And compared to them, Gallo has a 765 OPS and 9 homers this year in 52 games played. And he was kind of injury plagued in 2019, and like last year doesn't count. But in Gallo's last 2 full seasons, he averaged 41 homers and 840 OPS, 86 RBIs, and 147 games played. So look, Joey Gallo playing in Milwaukee too would help his numbers significantly. Picture a lineup with Lorenzo Cain, Avisail Garcia, Christian Yelich, Keston Hiura maybe turns it around, and then you got Gallo playing third or something. And again, if this trade happens, I'm assuming Shaw or Vogelbach or Urias goes to Texas in the deal because they would need to free up some space or whatever. But that side is obviously the bigger part of this deal, but Kyle Gibson is no slouch, man. He's been really good this year. I think it's his best season since 2017 or 18, but it may not be sustainable. But his ERA so far this year, 2.24, and he has a 3.21 fielding independent pitching. So average for that, like a good number for that is like low threes, high twos. So like he's right there.
Yeah, I mean, it
Um,
suggests he's pretty legit.
and that's in 10 games started. He is on the IL right now, but he's coming off the IL tomorrow actually to start. So
Got you.
that would be significant. And he would not have to be the ace there like he has been in Texas this year.
No.
Because obviously we know Woodruff, Burns, and Peralta have been unreal for Milwaukee this year. So that means Gibson would slide in as the fourth or fifth starter.
Yeah.
And Milwaukee's other starters haven't even been bad this year. Hauser has a 4.07 ERA and Anderson has a 4.18, which for a 4 or 5 starter, that's serviceable. You put Gibson with a 2.24 in the 4 spot. I mean, that pitching staff suddenly becomes one of the best in the league, including Hader and Williams. So again, that's a big deal. I think that would really blow them up in that division too, compared to everybody else.
I think they'd be
Like,
the favorite if they made that deal.
yeah.
Yeah.
And you could also see St. Louis making the exact same deal, by the way. I
Yeah.
could see the Brewers doing it more because of how bad their corner infielders have been. If St. Louis did it, obviously Gallo would play the outfield instead of the corner infield. Their pitching hasn't been very good, so that pitching aspect almost makes more sense for St. Louis. But I think if Milwaukee does this, they're just on a different tier. They could even be on the level of the Dodgers and the Padres if that were to happen, I think.
It'd be close.
Yeah.
What's Gallows' contract situation? Do we know?
So Gallo is a free agent after next year.
After next year.
And
Okay. Got it.
I think Gibson is a free agent after this year or after next year. I don't know which one, but it's soon. So
Okay. So
I don't know how much they'd have to give up, but they may even have to give up Hauser in that deal, that starter they have, and keep Brett Anderson because they probably prefer to get Hauser, maybe even Peralta. I don't really know, but again, with Woodruff and Burns, any other pitching you add is just extra. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
They're
Yeah.
so good. So
That's an interesting deal. I like that.
Yeah. What do you got?
For me, I think, the Rockies have probably been making moves. They're not going anywhere. So
Yeah.
I think they send CJ Krohn to the Indians. So because Cleveland first basemen have done nothing this year. So they've had Jake Bauers and Yu Chang both batting under 200, basically no power. On the other hand, Krohn has an 827 OPS in Colorado. I guess some of it due to the altitude.
It could be, but
I think, and he has been struggling too recently. I'll say that. But he's been a pretty solid, pretty like above average first baseman for most of his career. So I don't know. Indians, I was looking the other day, their payroll's last in the league, but they're over 500. They're right in the mix despite all the guys they've sent out. Would be kind of interesting.
Yeah, I think Cleveland is in second place right now, if I'm not mistaken, in that division.
Right.
I mean, obviously their pitching is the reason why, but
yeah.
If they want to compete, they do need to add some offense. I don't think that would be a bad idea, honestly, because I didn't even remember that Krohn was on the Rockies this year. I forgot what team he was on. Honestly,
No,
I didn't even remember that. That would be interesting. I'm assuming that Krohn was on a 1-year deal or something
so
like that.
Yeah,
something like that. So he should not. I don't even know. I mean, again, I don't know how much money it was, but it was probably not a lot either. It could have even been a minor league invite, so that would even make the trade easier. That would be interesting. I think Cleveland, like their offense plus Franmil Reyes just went out, like we talked about last week.
Right.
So they kind of need like a righty bat in there for sure.
I think it's just like a low risk deal for them. I mean, the Cleveland's not one to make like a splash to actually bring people in. So I think it's kind of their sort of brand to do something like that.
I mean, yeah, dude, I could see that trade just being like a couple minor leaguers for Krohn. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it could definitely be something that Cleveland would do. I mean, I'm trying to think of like trades they've done in the past, kind of in like the middle of the season. Like they got Puig a couple of years ago. That was probably the biggest one they've done in a while, but he was on like a free agent after the season. So like it wasn't that's kind of like what this trade would be. So I could definitely see them pulling the trigger there. That would be kind of cool.
Yeah, and see what happens. Yeah. All right, time for who's hot, who's not. Who you got for hot?
Well, we mentioned it before a little bit about the Giants. Evan Longoria has been really hot, man. He's hitting 391 over his past 7 games, 3 homers, 10 RBIs, 1.2 OPS. So, Longo looking like vintage Longo, man. He really is.
How? I
I
just don't understand this Giants team.
It's like ever since he got there, he's kind of been like declining every year. And now
Yeah.
he's all of a sudden just like back to being what he was with the Rays. So that's back when he was the Yankee killer too, man. So I was very familiar with
Right.
him back then.
Oh yeah.
So good for Longo though, man. He's either playing himself into a trade or he's helping the Giants make the playoffs. So
It's a
either
win-win.
way, yeah. Who you got?
I'll keep in that division. Max Muncy, it was last 15, been 365, 5 bombs, 8 RBIs, 1.162 OPS. Just reached 100 career home runs the other day, too.
Congrats. Wow, only 100. That's crazy.
Yeah, it feels like he's been around longer, but I feel like this is what his
Wow.
4th year with the Dodgers.
Yeah, I guess you're right. So still, I just feel like maybe I'm picturing all the postseason homers he's had too, because
Yeah,
he's had so many of those. We always forget Max Muncy was a dude with like the A's for a while that just never found his swing until he was in LA.
dude,
So
it's
I think he
crazy.
got like released by the A's and then he signed with the Dodgers and just like went off.
Bro, their scouting in LA
Yeah,
is just different.
it is. That's
He's been
nuts. But
no, he's been a killer.
yeah.
Who you got for slumping?
Well, so I got someone you're pretty familiar with because he was a part of the Cano trade. Um,
Ah, yes, I know
I'm
who that
going
is.
with stud prospect Jared Kelneck. He started out okay when he first came up, and now he's kind of slumping. So the league's adjusting to him a little bit. Last 7 games, he's only 3 for 28, and that is a batting average of 107. Um, he does have a homer, 3 RBIs in that span, but his OPS is only 408. Listen, I mean, he'll be fine. Everybody knows he's going to be okay. He's a top prospect. He was a stud in the minors. I'm not worried, but I just think it's something to look at because we're going to see how he adjusts to the adjustments pitchers have made to him. And that's just basically what happens to a lot of rookies. So we'll see how long it takes for him to get out of this slump.
Yeah, definitely rookie of the year candidate if he's going to turn around from this.
Oh, yeah,
But I'm gonna
absolutely.
do a guy probably not expected. I didn't even know he was slumping this much before I looked it up. Juan Soto now, his last 7 games, been 3 for 23, no homers or RBIs in that span. So I mean, we're talking about Nationals being in last place. That's part of it.
That'd be part of it for sure. Wow. I don't think we've seen Soto go on a stretch like that in I don't know how long, like
No, I
ever,
feel like he's
ever.
pretty freaking consistent.
Yeah. Plus, like last year, he almost hit 400 in like the shortened season. I mean, like
Yeah.
that's kind of weird. I don't know. I mean, if the Nats want to do anything, they definitely obviously they need him to fucking step it back up. So
Yeah, I mean they've got the pitching pieces, but the offense is streaky. So
yeah. All right. So now we're gonna do a little bit what it seems or not what it seems. So first guy I want to talk about is Albert Pujols, actually. So we took off the week that he got signed by the Dodgers, so we didn't really get to
right.
talk about that much. But and he's played 12 games since joining LA, and the batting average isn't there, but that's not going to be with Albert. He's hitting 237, but 3 homers, 10 RBIs, and a .801 OPS since he's been in LA. He hasn't had an OPS above 750 since 2016. So it
Mm.
looks like maybe it giving him some new life being on like a playoff contending team or something like that. It's weird to see him in Dodger blue. First of all, what do you?
No,
It's just I don't know, man.
it definitely looks strange.
Yeah,
I will say, like pretty decent numbers. He also got robbed of a home run there night
yeah,
by Mike Talkman. Like
he
great play
did.
by Talkman that would have
So
won the game, I believe. I think that was the
I
situation.
I do
So
think so. Yeah.
he's been pretty solid since getting that
I
lineup.
think again, you ask the Dodgers, they're going to say they're not surprised, but they're surprised, man. Like I think
Yeah.
everyone is surprised. The players over there. I mean, look again. Albert's a Hall of Famer, so like you can't really be surprised. But like he's 41 years old. There was a reason why the Angels didn't really want him anymore. So
Yeah.
It's nice to see Pujols doing good. I got the jersey up back there, man. I'm a big
For
Pujols
sure,
guy.
for
So,
sure.
but what I'm wondering is this: is there a chance that he's playing himself into a trade before the deadline because of how many players the Dodgers have hurt and have been coming back from injuries?
Hmm.
Because there are teams that could use first baseman.
That's true. I guess the question is who the Dodgers would plug in for first base full time then, if they were to ship
Well,
him out.
so I'm thinking like what I'm thinking is like Bellinger just came back, who can play first, but he's probably going to play center field. But like
Right.
they have Muncy, they have Lux, and they have Seager. What I'm thinking is when Seager comes back, Lux is moving to second, and then Muncy moves to first. Most
Mm.
likely, that's what it would be if Pujols wasn't there. So I'm assuming they would rather have Muncy playing. I don't know if they would just platoon them, but I think it's possible.
Yeah, the Corey injury just makes it difficult. I mean, you think he's coming back like
Soon,
sooner than later?
within 2 or 3 weeks, I think. So
Right. Okay. Okay. That's actually sooner than I thought.
yeah,
Yeah, you know what? I could see it. I don't think teams would give up a lot for him though.
right.
Because
Yeah,
even you could get him and like there's no telling if he'll keep this up, you know?
yeah, and like that's what I was about to say. Like you don't really know. His numbers could dip significantly in the next 2 or 3 weeks.
Hmm.
Plus, a guy like Pujols, man, like I don't think the Dodgers want to trade him because of the revenue they're making from like his jerseys. Because obviously, a lot of people are going to buy his jerseys. He's Albert Pujols.
Yeah.
But in my head, I just feel like there are teams such as Cleveland, for example, who could use a first baseman. Pujols' numbers have been better than their first baseman. So,
Yeah.
but other, like, could you even see him go back to St. Louis as a bench piece? Could they ask him that? Like, I don't
Kind of
know if he
interesting.
would want to do that because he'll probably go wherever he can get the most playing time. Obviously, I think the Dodgers would like ask him first straight up, like, will you even want to get traded or what's the deal? Because like if Muncy and Seager and Lux and Bellinger are all there, Albert Pujols might not have a lot of playing time, and
Right.
that was somewhat of the issue in Anaheim. That's why I think he wanted to leave too, because like he wasn't going to play. Um,
I'm a little
so I don't
confused
know.
why he's so focused on playing. I don't know. Not that like guys don't want to play, but like at this point, was he 41? Already accomplished so much. I don't know why that's like such a deal breaker for him, you know? But
Yeah, I don't know either. I mean, you could even see, like, I guess I think he just wants to boost his numbers still and just get as high on the Hall of
that's
Fame
fair.
fucking thing it can get to. Which, again, like if you're him, man, I know I would want to, but
I
also
wasn't considering that. Yeah.
I would realize though, like you're 41, just have fun and like play when you can and just like help out the young guys too. You know what I mean? And I know he
Hmm.
wants to do that, but like
Yeah.
it's interesting too. The White Sox don't really have room, but La Russa is the manager over there,
That's
and
true. I could see
we've
that
all
happening. Yeah.
gotten into how the La Russa situation is beyond whatever. But like
Right.
that may want him actually to not go there. That may make him like not want to go there. Everything that's been happening, but you never know. I mean, they obviously had a great relationship, so I don't know. It's interesting, but I just hope he keeps piling on these numbers, man, because I think I was looking at it the other day. I think he's like third all time now in RBIs, maybe even higher up, second. He
Wow.
might be second. I don't know. He's not going to get to first. I think it was, I don't know. It's either Aaron or Bonds who's in first right now, and he's way far off from whoever it was. But
Yeah.
still, I mean, I just think it's awesome. Everybody has to love watching Albert Pujols play. So it's going to be a sad day when he does retire. But
Oh yeah. No, it's
uh,
been a good surprise to see him bounce back a little bit.
yeah. Um, so moving on to something that's a player who you are not going to like talking about, but it's Francisco Lindor. Um,
Right.
man, like it's been 2 months now, and he's only played 44 games. You guys had a ton of rainouts, whatever, but
Yeah.
not much has changed since about a month ago. He's hitting 191, 4 homers, 11 RBIs, 583 OPS so far this year, and that's not the only issue, unfortunately. Since the start of 2020, that's 104 games that he's played. He's averaged a 225 batting average, a 667 OPS. He's hit 12 homers and driven in 38 RBIs. That would put him on pace for 19 homers and 59 RBIs over 162, which is not worth the contract he got. But
No.
from 2015 to 2019, he averaged a 290 batting average, 26 homers, 77 RBIs, and an 839 OPS. So do you think the player he is right now is what it seems?
No, I don't. I wish I had some like answer of why. Yes, since the start of 2020, like something that he could fix or whatever. I don't know, like explanation for it. I don't. Like it's yeah, the numbers are freaking odd, yo.
Yeah. I mean, I wish I had an answer too, because it doesn't even make sense to me. Like, I don't know what happened. I don't know if he's just in his own head too much. Like,
I mean,
it's possible.
I like coming to New York is definitely an adjustment.
Right.
And some guys like just have trouble getting started there. I mean, you guys have seen the Yankees too before, but
Mhm.
again, yeah, too. And then last year's odd because it's a shortened season.
Right.
So it's not to make excuses. I just it's confusing. Like I really don't have an answer for it. But yeah, what I do know is like that's not the player he is. So
Yeah, like I don't think so either, but like it's kind of getting to a point now where I'm like, fuck, like we would have expected him to be past it by now. I think everybody would
yeah,
have. Regardless, everybody thought he wasn't even going to have these struggles in New York. But like after the first month, it was like, okay, the weather's warming up. The Mets are still fucking in first, dude, somehow. And he is doing
I couldn't
bad.
tell you
Like,
how.
imagine how much it's going to help you guys, though, once he's actually doing good, hopefully soon. I mean, if he plays the way he played those 5 years in Cleveland, it's a totally different story. So,
I mean, what you just said goes for most of the team, honestly. Can you imagine if
right,
like a couple of
exactly.
them just start
Alonso,
hitting? Yeah,
Conforto,
man.
yeah.
Frankie,
I
pick
just
it up, bud. I mean, the
please.
defense is I don't even know. I think I'm stretching at this point. The defense has been pretty good.
It has.
I I'm trying to stay patient, yeah.
It's like and he's being like upbeat about it when I see him in interviews and stuff, and he understands why the New York fans are booing him. Okay,
Yeah.
I don't think they should be, but he gets it,
I
and
wouldn't.
like he is saying all the right things, which I applaud him on, because if you haven't played in New York, that's a whole different animal media wise too. So you got to
Mm-hmm.
say the right things, or else you're going to be on the page of the news the next day. So I he's just
He's
got
even
to
had
figure it
the
out,
freaking the squirrel incident with Jeff
dude.
McNeil. It's been
What
some
was
season, let
that?
me tell you.
Like, do you okay? So based on that, I think we talked about it a little bit, but do you think that they were actually like fighting?
Yeah. Yeah, it
You
seems
do?
that way.
I do too, just because of the way they like sprinted down there. Like, if you didn't see those like five players sprint down there, like we wouldn't have even known what happened, because like this happens in clubhouses. Like, you've heard players speak about it. Like, there are fights in clubhouses, but usually they're behind closed doors. If you didn't see those players sprint down there to help out whatever was happening, no one would even be talking about it. So, but that happened, so we are. And again, like, they're a double play combo. Do you think it was McNeil saying something about Lindor's play because he's been bad?
You know,
Like,
I don't know, but I also think McNeil also has sucked when he was playing. So I
right.
don't think you should really be talking any shit.
Like, I don't think either of them should have. If like they were, like, who said what to who? Because you've both been sucking so bad. So like,
Honestly, man, I'm glad it blew over. I was worried like something was gonna
yeah,
this was gonna carry on. There'd be some beef.
yeah,
I mean, that was like a month ago. We really haven't heard anything since. So
no,
thank God. But I mean, yeah,
yeah,
to the point you originally made, yeah, the New York media is gonna be all over it. So
yeah.
it's an adjustment he has to make. You know, it's Cleveland is the polar opposite. So
Exact opposite. Like,
yeah.
so much. Um, so listen, he's here for what, 13 years?
Oh yeah, he's
So
not going anywhere.
he has time to figure it out. Let's say he even has like a below average season this year somehow. Let's say, like, worst case.
Yeah.
I think next year, like, he's there. He's gonna figure it out. He's already been in New York a year. He's
Mm-hmm.
off. The weird season is gone. And I just think that is the worst case scenario. Best case, next 2 weeks he goes on a tear and he's back to his numbers. So hopefully that's the case. But
He homered this past weekend.
he
So,
did. I saw that. So
I mean,
um,
hoping for the best with Frankie.
yeah. Again, I think it also has affected him because of you guys getting so many fucking rainouts.
Right.
Because then you're not playing every day. Like it sucks, but not to give him an excuse, but that's tough too. So
Yeah, no, those you off the rhythm. Yeah.
yeah. So another guy I'm going to talk about, I'm going to stay in the division. Patrick Corbin for the Nationals has been pretty bad the past 2 seasons now. Since the start of 2020, Corbin has averaged a 5.45 ERA, only 7.7 strikeouts per nine. From 2017 to 2019, that was with 2 years at Arizona and then one with the Nationals. He averaged a 3.48 ERA and 10 strikeouts per nine. Obviously, we all know that in 2019, Patrick Corbin was a huge part of the Nationals World Series team, especially against the Astros in that World Series.
Yeah.
But that also increased his workload that season. It's only another 23 innings, but the fact that he pitched great in 2019 means he went deep into games a lot. Then
Yeah.
he pitched
Yeah.
the extra games in October. So, is he what he's seen? Is it what it seems what he's been playing as the past 2 seasons, or not?
So I was curious. I looked up his FIP is like almost exactly in line with his ERA for the last 2 seasons. So it's not like he's getting unlucky. Like he
Yeah,
actually has been this bad.
yeah,
Yeah, it's weird, and he's still like he's 31. Like he's
right.
not really getting up there. I had to expect he turns it around, but again, yeah, like he's gotten the results he deserves. So
Yeah, man. Like his FIP has not. It's been about that.
yeah,
It's just interesting because like he was kind of always up and down with Arizona. I
mm,
think he had an all-star season in like 2014 or 15. Then he had a couple bad years again. But then in 2017 and 18, he was very good. Then he was an all-star, I think, both seasons. Then he was an all-star in 2019 with the Nats. I'm almost positive. Then obviously he won the World Series, whatever. It's just it doesn't really make sense that he's dropped off this much, in my opinion. But
no,
I think it's what it seems because of now it's been a long time that he's been this bad, and
yeah.
the FIP is just it's not where it should be. So that's unfortunate. Obviously, he can turn it around, but I don't know.
I mean, they're gonna
Um,
need it if they're going to get out of last place, or I mean,
right?
even just compete
Yeah,
really in that
they're
division.
gonna need it too because like Scherzer is a free agent after the season. Let's look past this season for an example. Corbin would still be there for another 5 years after this season, or
Wow.
3, 4 maybe, but because I think his contract was 7 years, so he would be there for another 4. So if
Mm,
Scherzer leaves, Strasburg has had the injury bug since that World Series too.
yeah.
So
Don't know what to expect from him.
and then after Corbin, it's John Lester, who's a free agent after the season. Their rotation may look a lot different next year. I'll just say
Definitely.
that because they do have Joe Ross still, but I don't even know when he's a free agent. I think he is pretty soon as well. So
Yeah, and
Corbin's
he's
got to
not
turn it
particularly
around
reliable either.
now.
He's up and down.
So, I think he definitely, obviously, he has the track record to turn it around, but you never know, man. With starting pitchers, they could be a little funny sometimes, and they could just drop off a cliff and never be the same. So,
Yeah.
we'll hope not for his sake, but
No,
we'll see.
definitely. Something we wanted to mention a little bit. I feel like with baseball, we cover like the great stuff. We got to cover the downs too. So Marcelo Zuna the other night was arrested and charged with felony assault after attacking his wife um, in Georgia. So the details of the assault, like they're putting honestly his future in baseball in jeopardy. So their baseball's going to launch an investigation that could result in significant suspension for him. And then potentially the Braves could attempt to convert his 4-year, $65 million contract being non-guaranteed. So, I mean, obviously 2 parts to this, bro. The really just shitty human part of it, that of just like it's like just really sad to even read. Um, and then the lesser important part too, obviously, is how it affects the Braves going forward and how important he was to them.
Yeah, listen, obviously, the human aspect, the fact that he did this is way more important than the baseball aspect. There are some weird details about this too. Like, this was almost a year to the day that his wife was arrested for something towards him, like a domestic something she did to him, and then nothing really happened with it. I don't think. Maybe she was on parole or something. Whatever it was, it seems like for both of them, this was very toxic. Um, and it's really sad for both instances that they had to go through this. You really hope that his wife is okay,
Mm-hmm.
because we all, let's face it, we've all seen Marcelo Zuna. He's a big dude, and that's really not okay that he did this to his wife. It's horrible, and we really hope that everyone involved is okay. We hope that everything that happens to Ozuna is really looked at, and this won't happen again, because this is horrible. Like, we've talked about it with Domingo Herman, we've talked about it with some other guys, unfortunately, because we would love to just talk about the great things and who's playing what and what great plays we saw, but that's just not always the case.
Yeah.
And again, it does affect the Braves a lot. Ozuna finished sixth in MVP voting last year. He led the NL in homers too. And listen, like, again, the human part is the worst part, but Ozuna has been a great baseball player since he came over here, and that's just statistically a fact. He's averaged a 281 batting average, 23 homers, 80 RBIs, and an 826 OPS over 162 since his first full year. That was in 2014. So, this is going to affect the Braves a lot. You
Yeah.
wonder what's going to happen with the contract situation, because it's not usually something you see right after a guy signs a contract too. Because, like,
Yeah.
for anyone who doesn't remember, he just signed this contract like this offseason. So it's brand new. And, I don't know what the league is going to really do. I know everyone's going to really look into the situation, but it's just a really unfortunate instance, and
Yeah.
you just really hope that everybody involved is okay, and that justice does its part here.
No, definitely. Couple nasty pitching performances Ken too from this last week. Tyler
Yeah.
Glass now still doing his thing, still killing it against the Royals on the 26th. He went 8 innings, 3 hits, 2 walks, no runs, 11 Ks. Next day for the A's, Chris Bassett, complete game shutout versus the Angels.
Yeah.
Only put on 3 base runners in that too. And then yesterday, Kevin Gossman was mowing down the Dodgers, and then he left with an injury when he was
Yeah.
fielding a ground ball. But he only went 6, but in that span, he just gave up 2 hits, no walks, no runs. So
Yeah. Gossman's on my fantasy team, actually. So
same.
he's been awesome. That's 6 innings. You wish he would have gone more because his pitch count wasn't that high.
It was
But
low, yeah.
yeah. So, but still, I mean, 6 innings, 2 hits, 7 strikeouts, no earned runs is just like, all right, that's filthy against the Dodgers. I mean, come on.
Oh yeah.
Um, Bassett's complete game shutty was pretty cool, but obviously the Angels don't have their whole lineup. Not to make it less, but Trout's not there.
Yeah.
Rendon hasn't been good. But still, shut down Ohtani. Could do a complete game shutout. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
There's also one yesterday. We were talking about the Brewers rotation. Brandon Woodruff pitched yesterday against the Nats, who have been struggling. We talked about Juan Soto, but Woodruff, 7 innings, 2 hits, 2 walks, 10 strikeouts. That's been the usual for him. He's also on my fantasy team, so I've been seeing this the whole year. He's almost been better than Burns this year, and I think Burns' walk situation with like the no walks for a while overlooked Woodruff, but like
Yeah.
he's been a stud, like unreal.
I
So
agree. I feel like Burns has had the national spotlight, but
yeah,
Woodruff has probably been just as good, if not better.
and I correct me, I may be wrong. I don't know if you remember. I think I picked Woodruff for the Cy Young. I don't remember though. I forget, but I think I might have.
I don't remember the top of my head, but I would believe
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
I
mean,
feel like I did. So
it's looking
I
good
think
right now.
I mean, obviously DeGrom, if he's back, and he's probably going to be better than Woodruff. But like Woodruff has been solid. And another guy too was Giolito. We talked about last week. He had another good start this week against Baltimore. Went 7 innings,
Yeah.
only 1 run, struck out 12. So it looks like he's back. So
Streaky guy,
yeah,
but I mean, I think he's putting it together.
yeah. So we've had some good pitching this week.
And then some injury updates to get into. Trevor Story placed on the IL with right elbow inflammation. So
That's tough, dude, because if he's out for a while, he may not get traded.
yeah.
Let's hope it's not, but right elbow inflammation too, that's always a red flag for some TJ. So really hope not, because that would suck. I love watching Story play. So
No, absolutely.
yeah.
Weird injury again too. Zach Plesac went to 10-day IL after fractures while quote unquote aggressively ripping off jersey.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw that and I thought it was like a misprint or something, but that's what
Right.
Terry Francona said. So I don't know how long he's going to be out for. I don't know if he needed surgery, but
I'm just
I,
trying to like picture like if I ripped
yeah,
off my shirt, how the motion I have to do that. You know,
like yeah, I don't know.
I think back to like I don't know for Lucas Duda when he injures his back moving furniture.
Oh
Why
yeah,
when he was on the
Or
Mets?
Cespedes. Remember Cespedes
Oh,
when he steps in like the ditch or whatever the fuck he
never
did?
seen anything like it. No, no.
Bro, this is
Zach Plesac belongs on the Mets.
he does, yeah. That's a weird one though, honestly. Dude, honestly, they should have just traded Plesac over instead of Carrasco because then he would have fit right in.
No, I
Yeah,
think that would have worked out much better. And
yeah.
then another major pitcher. This one, I mean, a little more serious. Mike Soroka will now miss the remainder of the season after an Achilles setback. So he's an injury plagued couple of years now.
Yeah, that sucks, man. He was supposed to come back, I think, around now if he didn't have a setback. And I think I'm almost positive that he had a second surgery now too. So I think that's why he's out for like the rest of the season. That sucks. I mean, I for a while it was like him and Max Fried were gonna be like the guys in Atlanta, and now he's been out
Yeah.
for like 2 years. So you know, and a guy that's gonna actually have to pick up some slack being Stroke is not coming back is Charlie Morton. He's kind
Mm.
of been worse than expected this year. And so I think like I know he's getting up there in age too, which I get it, but he's a guy they signed to do 1 year, 15 million. He's got to pick it up a little bit, I think. So
Yeah, I think
well,
the expectations were higher, especially after what he was doing in Tampa.
yeah. A couple others, fucking hamstrings, dude. Everyone's getting hamstring injuries.
The
Max
hammies.
Kepler and Michael Brantley both put on the IL with hamstring injuries. So that sucks. Actually, a couple that I wanted to bring up too, some Yankees ones that did happen. So we just talked about Corey Kluber last week. He
Rip.
was removed from his start. He's out at least 2 months. Something to do with his shoulder. He can't throw
Corey.
at all for 4 weeks now, and then he's gonna have the buildup, man. I just after the no hitter, this is just so it sucks, man. I really feel bad for him too, because he doesn't choose to get hurt. Yankee fans are so annoyed about this, but it's like, look, what do you expect? You kind of could have predicted at least one injury from him this year just because of him not throwing the past 2 years really much. But
And we were just talking about how good that rotation's been.
I know. Yeah, and then we get fucking that injury, and then we get swept in Detroit. So it's crazy how much shit can change in a week.
Oh
But
yeah, it's fluid,
yeah.
constantly changing.
Also a tough one. Luke Voigt is out with a grade 2 oblique strain. That sucks. Now that moves DJ back over to first, and Rugi will probably be the everyday second baseman now. It just sucks, man. We're not the same team without Voigt in the lineup, plain and simple. So
Oh yeah,
that's a tough blow. But
need the power. Yeah.
because dude, we've talked about obliques too, man. That shit you got to be fucking careful with because a
Oh
lot
yeah,
of guys come back too soon. George Springer, for example, hasn't even been back since he re-injured his fucking oblique. So
yeah.
that's just tough. One positive though I want to bring up quick is Key Brian Hayes is coming back. So
Mhm.
can't wait to watch him play again. For the Pittsburgh Pirates. Obviously, there's not much to talk about with the Pirates, but he's awesome. So he's going to be really exciting to watch when he gets back.
It'll be a bright spot, definitely, to see him.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so stat of the week, a weird one. I didn't know this happened until like 5 minutes ago. So Rich Hill the other day at 41 years old and 75 days threw 13 Ks in a game. That's the oldest pitcher to do that since Randy
Ever?
Johnson in
Oh,
2008, since Randy Johnson in 2008,
okay.
who was 44. So
Wow.
I gotta be
Man,
honest, I didn't know Rich Hill was pitching right now, but I just stumbled upon this stat, and at 41, he's still killing it.
He's on the Tampa Bay Rays now. Obviously, because
That
where
sounds
else
like
would he
the
be
team,
pitching?
right? That sounds like the team he would bounce back on.
Yeah. Funny thing though, I forgot Randy Johnson pitched as long as he did too. He was 44. When did he retire? When he's
I don't
probably like
know.
46. He was like Bartolo, dude. Like
He was just under 45 when he threw the 13K game.
wow.
Damn.
Man, that's why he's a Hall of Famer, man. Randy Johnson. But hey, Rich Hill, hey, great dude too, by the way, because not too long ago he was playing for the Long Island Ducks.
Bro,
So
that's crazy.
that's the Atlantic League team. For anyone who's not familiar, it's up north over here. So that was only about 4 or 5 years ago. So
and then he was he on Oakland at one point too?
He was on Oakland, he was on Boston, and he was on LA, obviously, and Minnesota last year. But
Gotcha. Okay.
yeah, he's been bouncing around. But again, it doesn't surprise me that he ended up with the Rays. So
No, that sounds exactly right. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, that wraps up for us. We'll be back next week, and take it easy.
Yep. See you guys.